Hello, people. I hope you're all doing well. As you guys know, Nio will report Q3 earnings on November 25th. And I would like to have a brief discussion on this to see where we stand. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? What to expect? What does the date mean? The date to me means a lot, actually. And as you guys know, we do our own analysis before earnings and compare that to the analyst expectations, and as we do on previous earnings. Before we get into this, I would like to basically have a discussion, short discussion on the stock activities. The stock activities, what I can see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the last time I checked it was like 3% down or whatever, really is confirmation that financial institutions control the stock. And not only they control Neo, they control the entire market. Okay, it would be silly to believe that you can control anything as a retail investor. This is why it's so crucial to understand where you fit, so crucial to understand, to gain knowledge of what is happening in the market. And I believe most of the activities were done through probably naked shorting in this case. Okay. And this talk about retail investors having the capability to do this or that or whatever, it's a bunch of hot air that you really need to be careful with that. Okay. And this would be done in a different video. I know I had some comments on the previous video comparing Nio to some other stocks and whatever. We can discuss this in the next video. So in this video, November 25th, what does the date tell us? Okay, the first thing, am I bullish on it, bearish? Of course, I am bullish on it. I'm actually super bullish on it. Okay. And not only for the Q4, for the forecast for Q4, but also for Q3. Okay, and I'll tell you why. If we go back to the previous earnings, Q4 of 2024, Q1 of 2025, sorry, and Q2 of 2025, we see that for Q4 of 2024, the earnings were done on March 25th, 21st. So March is the third month of the following quarter, right? For Q1 of 2025, earnings were done on June the 3rd, which is the third month as well of the following quarter. For Q2 of 2025, they were done on September the 2nd, which is also the third month. So the difference between Q3 of 2025 earnings, which is November 25th, is that it is done on the second month of the following quarter, which is, we are in the fourth quarter, second month. So this is a clear indication that something is different. Why? Because I believe that it has to do with the forecast. When Nio reports earnings, everything is all done as far as the previous quarter. But one of the key metrics that Nio reports is the forecast. And so the forecast is, they forecast the deliveries and they forecast the revenue. And in the Q4 of 2024 and Q1 and all the three quarters we talked about, the previous three quarters, one of the common things about them was that Nio didn't have this backlog of orders. They really didn't have this humongous backlog of orders. So therefore, they had to wait till the third month to make sure they know what the deliveries would be. And especially of Q4 of 2024, this was done in the third month, March 21st. So that means they really had to wait almost to the end of the Q1 quarter to tell us what that forecast would be. And so what does that mean? It means that the previous forecast, if you have a delay in the forecast, it means that their backlog is light. And if you guys remember, in the quarters before, when you order a new vehicle or even Envo, you can wait 2 to 3 weeks for that. The lately for the Envo L90, um, you have to wait 8 to 10 weeks, and for the ES8, the last I checked was 22 to 26 weeks, so almost half a year to get ES8. That means that there is back. That means that the shop is actually booked of orders. That means they actually have all the orders in place, and this is why it's a good sign. They are in at full production as far as the whatever schedule they have. First shift or whatever shifts they have, first shift, second shift, or whatever, right? So that's a great sign when you have orders or when you have earnings ahead of in the second month. Okay, so that's for that. The second thing is about the revenue. The revenue is actually connected to the deliveries as well. The more you have control and knowledge about the deliveries, the more you have more information about the revenue. But in Nio's case, the revenue is becoming more and more complicated from the previous quarters that we used to do assessment. And because of the fact that you have three sub brands, you have actually two sub brands. You have the Envo and the Firefly, and Nio. So as you guys know, in the past we used to be extremely accurate with our forecast, with our own assessment of the earnings. But lately, we don't have that accuracy simply because it's not as easy. It's not as easy because we don't know what the production is. If Neo says we will produce 72,000 deliveries for Q3, we don't know how many are for, or let's say the forecast for Q4. If they say, well, the forecast is 140,000 to 150,000, you have no idea what the Firefly forecast would be, or the Firefly deliveries. The only way to know is to look at the backlog or to look at the scheduled production, and we don't have that. So Neo knows that we don't, and that's where they get their revenue from, and we can't assess that. So that's why the revenue becomes tricky to calculate. Another thing is that the license money in the revenue, you would also have license and payments from companies such as 47 or McLaren, and we saw that in Q2. So are we going to see more and more of this? I believe so. I believe so. So that's the second thing to think about when it comes to revenue. The third thing to think about is the battery swap, and this could be a new addition to the stream of revenue, because the first battery swap of partners would be from Cherry, and from Cherry, what's the name of the Exceed? Cherry Exceed. It's supposed to be the first model to use Neo's battery swap. Okay, so therefore and that would be in late September. So we're not going to see any significance. The significance is symbolic that there is a new entry here. Okay, and it could be buried in the energy or in the other revenue, but it is there. And what we should see later on, and more of these partners revenue coming in from the battery swap. And you guys know Cherry, Changan, JAC, GAC, FAW, Geely, Lotus. I mean, you name it. There's so many partners that would use battery swap, right? So this is what it is. It actually looks quite interesting, and the fact that so why am I bullish on Q4, the forecast? And I think the key to the earning would be, in my mind, would be the deliveries for Q4, and the of course the revenue, but but we will not tell from the forecast whether Nio will break even. It will basically Q3 will say the deliveries will be so many in this range, and the revenue will be, XYZ. Okay, and they will not tell you, well, we will break even until you have the earning call. And during the earning call, one of the analysts will ask the question, do you think you will break even? And the answer would be yes or no for Q4. Okay, and I believe they will break even, if not maybe have some profit. Why? Because it's such a huge catalyst for Nio. They talked about it so much. Okay, so that's for that. Um, Everything is actually looking positive in my mind, and we'll discuss it more in more detail in the future. Okay. Well, just thought to let you guys know, and of course, please do your research and due diligence. It's never financial advice. Thank you. Bye bye.